Hello, hello. We should once again be live. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see the Bitcoin chart? Are the volumes okay? First, checking the usuals. Awesome. Seems like everything's fine. So, how's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty damn good. Our analysis from the past couple days played out beautifully. And we TP'd half of our longs, so good read on price action and clean plans. You can see what sticking to your plan can achieve in crypto, right? In trading. So let's see what we have next. Whether it's more likely to see continuation and what the plan then is, or if we're going down next, right? Because as you guys know, anything's possible. My hope are on ETH 3K. Let's see, man. Let's see. Just gonna wait a couple minutes so some more people can join, and then we'll get started. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe some altcoins, some traditional markets, commodities, gold, silver, the S&P maybe, but yeah, mostly crypto. Commodities haven't been doing anything, honestly, the last couple days. Simply ranging, so more exciting stuff going on in crypto at the moment. We can do some requests at the end, yes. First, I'll do my own thing on Bitcoin, and then we'll see. Right, so it will just be a usual review, right, where I'll be giving my thoughts on the charts. You will be able to rewatch it later, so it's basically just a video that I would make, but analyze the chart live. I'll be able to answer questions if you guys have any. And like I just said, we'll do some requests at the end. All right. Before we get into that, thanks to our partners over at PrimeXBT. They hooked me up with a giveaway of a $1,000 funded account. So you guys can win a PrimeXBT account that is funded with $1,000. All you have to do is sign up on PrimeXBT using the link in the description. And making a deposit. All right, so pretty easy. You can trade crypto, commodities, forex, indices, all on PrimeXBT with a single account. So it's pretty damn useful. The lowest fees at the moment in the market. And when you use my link, you instantly get a VIP2 account. So yeah, definitely worth it, checking it out. Also, you can get a 20% deposit bonus for sure if you use my link, and you get free access to my Discord group where I have posted all my trades live, just like the one that you see on the screen right now. So if you want to join us in the hunt, get your account ready on PrimeXBT, send me a message on Discord and I'll get you added. All right, so with that being said, let's dive into some charts. Starting off with Bitcoin, right? From our latest stream, which was on Tuesday, right? So what did we say there, right? We analyzed, we gave basically the reasons why we were still bullish, looking for higher prices, before this whole move happened. And why did we say that we were still bullish? Well, because of liquidity, right? Because of the sweeps of the lows and the unswept highs to the upside. We had swept the lows aggressively and had unswept highs to the upside. So the higher time frame draw on liquidity was to the upside, right? That combining that with lower time frame liquidity, being that we swept some local highs here, we were looking for a sweep of these local lows to get long, right? And to target that high time frame liquidity to the upside. Initially, very good reaction, and then made an equal high compared to these two highs. So then we had triple highs to the upside, meaning even more liquidity resting to the upside, which is also the reason why I wasn't too concerned when we dipped in here and when we dipped in here, and which was also the reason why I said I could even see a dip here below the monthly open into our OTE from the low to, at that point, the high, right? In one swing, low to high. You look for longs on the retrace into OTE, the 705 level, which lined up beautifully with the monthly open and that range mean level. So that's why we said we could see a dip, right? In there, a sweep, then low time frame liquidity would once again have been swept, and we would have gotten an even bigger draw on liquidity to the upside on the higher time frames. Okay, so we ended up just making an equal low right here, and it didn't actually sweep it before just going for that high time frame liquidity that we were watching. All right, so now the question is, so that played out beautifully. I gave you my reasons why I was thinking that that we were going to trade higher because of that drawn liquidity on the higher time frames. So now the question is, what's next, right? And if you ask yourself that question, well, what was the main reason that we were bullish targeting new highs? Well, that drawn liquidity. And do we still have that draw right now? Well, the biggest liquidity was resting above these triple highs. And that liquidity has now been taken, right? So are we going to do something like this and rip a lot higher? Or are we going to do something like this, get rejected and trade towards these lows, potentially all the way back to our daily range lows, right? And nobody knows what's next. So that's the reason why I personally took off half on my longs, because I was up in very good profit at the highs. I took off half on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Both came into key levels, right? This one range high and all-time highs, major liquidity swept. Ethereum, we will do Ethereum in depth after this, but also came into our range high levels, right? And supply from up here. So if there is going to be a place where this could reject and break back inside the range and trade towards all of these lows, it should be from here. So those two, combining that, was for me enough to take off half. And now it's fairly simple to me. I'm gonna wait out what Bitcoin does the next couple days, right? And decide after the weekly close. So basically, as you can see, the weekly close right now is looking very strong. As long as we close in the green, I'd say it's pretty strong, but ideally, if you're really bullish here, what you want to see is a weekly close at least above these highs. All right. If that's the case, dips are for buying, in my opinion, targeting new highs. But let's say we reject over the weekend very hard, and we close the weekly in the red, right? Then what would that mean? That would mean that we swept high time frame liquidity here and broke back inside the range. At that point, where would the draw be? Towards here and here. So at that point, I'll likely close out my longs and yeah, enjoy my summer, I'd say, because at that point we likely just get a lot more chop before maybe ultimately trading towards new all-time highs, right? So let's see where the weekly open is resting actually. weekly open, because as I just said, that could be a nice area to keep an eye on. As you can see, right, the supply right here that got rejected, so the sideways price action that led to the move down, rejected to the upside because people were accumulating shorts in here. So when we retest that area, those people gonna want to defend their positions, often resulting in continuation to the downside. But then price returned to the area, price started coiling up and smashed above that level. So what you want to see now is a retest of this area, holds from the other side, because people who accumulated shorts in this area gonna want to get out as close to their entries as possible, often resulting in buying pressure and a move back to the upside. All right, so that's definitely gonna be an area where that I'll be watching. If we take a look at OTE as well, from the low to the high, no surprise, lining up in that area as well. So just this supply demand as well, by the way, this sideways price action that coiled us up to the explosive move to the upside, people were accumulating longs in this area, they are gonna want to defend their positions as well. So just this area in general is gonna be very key to me, and wicks below it are fine. But if we start closing back below here, back below the weekly open, at that point I think, at least here, but at that point I think we trade all the way back down into 100Ks. And it would be classic, you know. Everyone, when I was longing here, everyone was like commenting on my post like, we're going down, 90K is next, what are you doing? And now that we're at range highs, everyone is suddenly bullish again, everyone caught the move. When you post something bearish, they're gonna roast you as well. So for me, this area is key. Break below there, get out of longs, target lower, maybe even look for shorts if you rip up, right, and sweep some highs. But as long as that area holds, I'm bullish, and I could see us break significantly higher to the upside and trade higher from there. What I also see as a good scenario would be something like this. So you also have some people that like to short on every swing failure pattern or every sweep to the upside. And those people, I think, right now are gonna say like, we swept all of these highs, slightly swept all-time highs, boom, it's a deviation, it's a sweep, we're going down, right? Trap those people by going down, right, but bouncing on support, making another move into 130K, decently, well, then actively grab liquidity above all-time highs, because as you can see, we barely made it to new highs. So grab that liquidity and then smash back inside the range and then trade it lower. I see that as a possibility as well. So yeah, because of all those reasons that I just said, there's, of course, there is always a lot of possibilities in the market, but it's not about what you want to see. Like, I want to see Bitcoin go to 150K, you know, but that's not what you're, it's not because you want it that you're gonna get it. So stick to the chart and trade what you see. And what I see at the moment is we could be topping on the lower time frames. We could go for another sweep here. That's also definitely a possibility that we do something like this from here, right? The 12-hour closed, we dumped from the close, so draw towards the top of the candle, right? Bounce it, make it to new highs, everyone will get excited, and then smash it back below. Then we have not only swept this high, which is yesterday high, but then we also sweep former all-time high, really good, and then smash it back below, right? And at that point, I think we could have lower a lot as well. But the key to see which scenario is more likely is simply to wait for confirmation, and in this case, wait for the higher time frames to give you confirmation. if the weekly, for example, sweeps all-time highs again and the weekly closes weak, right, you know that you're gonna have a bigger chance that it trades lower. If you, for example, sweep the highs but it still closes on the weekly up here, then I'd be a little more on the bullish side and looking for a continuation to the upside, you see. But for me, I'll stick to my half risk longs for now, because yeah, we did break out, you know, we closed above these highs. Now the question is it a breakout or a deviation? And for that, we simply don't know yet. All right, I hope all of this made sense. If it didn't, or you have any questions, feel free to ask. But is that a little bit clear for all of you 54 people watching? Leave a like, by the way, if you're enjoying the stream. That really helps me a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. Long in blue area would make sense. Well, I'll tell you, I think if we drop from here, then it would make sense in my opinion, because that would then be the first test without taking any low time frame liquidity above here. So if we nuke to blue from here, that makes sense with invalidation here to target the highs. But if we now go for the highs again and do this, grab liquidity above not only yesterday high, but also above this all-time high, at that point, go for blue, then I'd be more careful, because at that point, you have swept high time frame liquidity, low time frame liquidity, and at that point, the draw could really be towards here, which could result in us just sliding through all of these levels. Do you check the OI before entering the trade? Nope, I don't use OI, sorry. And now do you consider any OI spike on the breakout? Yeah, like I said, I don't use that. I use price action only. All right, cool. So I feel like, yeah, we've had a really good read on the markets, luckily, because before, I mean, now we're on a winning streak again. We went from on a losing streak to like winning 2 trades, and now we're suddenly very in sync with the market. But that's how it goes sometimes, you know. We're still trading that 10k account, and we traded it all the way up to, we're almost at 80k now. It's taking time, you know, but as you can see, as long as you keep on managing your risk, keeping a clear head, and you stick to your plan and don't stress or do anything stupid. And I know it's easy to say, I also made very stupid mistakes when I just started, but as you can see, you can achieve some great things in the crypto world. What happened to Aave? I have no clue. Nothing, pretty much. I closed my long yesterday at break even, simply because I wanted to focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum while they were both breaking out. But I still feel like this is looking really good for upside. I could just see us sweep some lows before doing so. You see this, maybe do something like this and then break higher. So Ethereum, also really nice play here, a long, right? So we said this is a breakdown until we reclaim the range. We smashed back above the range, right? Saw some price action. That was our signal to get long. Clean invalidation below the sweep, right? First target, opposite side of the range. Low time frame liquidity. Hold on, let me remove this. What was our first target? Lower time frame liquidity, this poor high right here, resting right below range highs, and the sideways price action on the lower time frames that led to this dump, right, being supply. And as you can see, target got smashed. That's also why I'm out of Ethereum longs, half, right? Half out, 50% closed, still 50% in. Why? Because this is a key area. If we're gonna reject, in my opinion, it's gonna be from here. If we hold up here, and it's, I have to say, it's looking amazing at the moment, I think we just smashed to 3K. And I think that's more likely. I still took off half because I had some really good profits. And there is still a chance we do this, trade towards the lows and maybe then break out, or a lot more chop and then break out. I don't know. But what I do know is that this was a key level where we could reject, so I took off half. But yeah, it's looking amazing for more upside. I feel like if it wanted to trade, wanted to stay inside this range, it should have done this and rejected hard from there. And instead we pumped, closed super strong, and now we're simply consolidating here, waiting for continuation to 3K. So yeah. ETH Bitcoin looking good too. Yeah, indeed. Looking fairly similar, you know, with the lows here, swept the highs. Yeah, you could call this a sweep, but fairly unswept, so the draw is definitely to the upside. And you have all of this aggressive, ugly downside. And what comes down fast could go up fast. So I've said it, I was never gonna sell my Ethereum. I kept believing in it. I sort of gave up on trading it because it was just following Bitcoin, and whenever Bitcoin was strong, Ethereum was weaker, and whenever Bitcoin was weak, Ethereum was super weak, you know? So I didn't really trade it anymore, but when I saw this setup, right, the reclaim of this range, that was a no-brainer for me, so I took it. And right now I think, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we trade to 3.4K next. On the weekly, like, look at this, you know, we already tested this area so many times here that this isn't looking bearish, you know? We're not gonna sweep these highs, then fall all the way back here, and then reclaim it to test this level again, to then nuke to new lows. That doesn't make any sense to me. So if we're talking about dropping back inside the range, right, and more ranging, doing something like this, sure. But I feel like this consolidation is the consolidation that ultimately leads to 3.4K. Why this level? It's just a monthly level that you can see right here. A monthly candle with barely a wick to the upside. I feel like that's gonna be the next draw. It's also this sideways price action that led to a lot of downsides. So I feel like this area is gonna be key. And just by looking at it, you can see that it probably is gonna line up with OTE. Look at that. You can clearly see, look at this. So this was a monthly level. Hold on. This was that monthly level. And look how close OTE is resting. So I feel like that area is gonna be a pretty good area to target for longs at least. Something like this, wick in there, maybe more ranging then, or to build a new range that maybe ultimately leads to a breakout higher. Right? Does that make sense? Any questions? In which scenario would you add more risk on ETH? Well, if I'm looking at the chart and analyzing it live right here, right now, I would actually add back my risk right here. Because as I always say, what I want to see when I'm looking for shorts on a sweep into supply is a sweep above there and a rejection. What I don't want to see is a pump into that area, a strong close and consolidation in that area, because at that point it's more likely that it breaks to the upside. That's exactly what we're seeing right now, so wouldn't be surprised if ETH pumps to 3K from here. But yeah, once again, not once again, but if you long right here and it's your first long trade, right? Where's your stop? I personally, yeah, I think you would have to keep it like right here to have any reward towards 3k, you know. If you target up there, it's decent, but yeah, like I said, I could see us reject range a lot more to then ultimately move to there, and then you're gonna get stopped. So if you want to account for that, you would have to keep it there, but as you can see, then the risk reward is not worth it. So yeah, probably keep it there, the stop. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to my half risk for now and see how we close in the next couple of days, then maybe add some. Given the previous all-time high SFP, is this potentially the start of the bear market? What's a bear market and what's a bull market? You know, just trade a chart. But what I do want to say is the SFP of the all-time high, I don't really call this an SFP of the all-time high. It barely went above that price. That's also the reason why I said it would make more sense, in my opinion, to go for the high again. And if it's bearish then smash back below here. Right? Everyone who's shorting now, thinking the top is in, stop those out, grab that liquidity as well, and then come back down. Hello Stein, how are you, man? As long as Bitcoin doesn't shit the bed, ETH will send. Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. What do you think? 107 low, can we sweep it? Yes, of course we can. Do I think we will? For now, I don't. If we do this scenario, we could. But for now, I'm not targeting these lows, no. Different story if we sweep the highs and reject hard. At that point, I think we can. Alright, let's take a look at gold. Gold is basically still inside the same range and not looking too hot. Still, the main scenario that I'd be watching would either be looking for longs down here, or above here. Why? Well, decent liquidity at these equal lows, some demand right here. So sweep that and see strength. I could see us move up from there. Other scenario, sweep this into this weekly demand, then reclaim, then look for longs towards the opposite side of the range, or strength above here, right? It's just a weekly level, haven't closed the weekly above there, and just a pivotal area in general, as you can see here, here, and here. So daily close above there, I also think we send to new all-time highs. But for now, nothing exciting going on, just in the range. Silver also ranging on the lower time frames, but looking better considering that we just have broken out and was looking way stronger than gold. I'm still in longs. They're taking ages to do something, but I'm still in. As you can see, we were looking for, in the review, the sweep. We got the sweep, we got long. Beautiful retest here, didn't stop us out, luckily. And ever since, it's just been chopping. The longer we stay in this range though, and the more we keep bonking against this resistance, in my opinion, the more likely we break out. So, yeah, still in, still looking for this as a first target. Why as a first target? Because initially I was looking for straight up towards here, and then I could have seen a snap back and going back down. But if I'm looking at it right now, the fact that we've ranged this long, I feel like if we break out, that will go a lot higher. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm definitely gonna hold half if we make it towards this target. Platinum, also ranging, but also looking much better now. Had some highs here, swept. Didn't quite make it to the lows, but on the lower time frames it did sweep some, and looking bullish again. Still looking for the same target, still looking for significant upside We said that we were looking for way more upside, and basically every dip you bought should be in profit, right? So yeah, apart from that, nothing too much to update. S&P, very bullish, broke out to all-time highs, weekly in the green, daily looking strong. 4 hour in the local range where it retested this demand area, right? Sideways price action, boom, swept this, looking like it just wants to send in my opinion. So no reason to look for shorts on anything that looks this bullish. Right? Any more questions? Do you think there will be the same bear and bull market, or we going higher 150k because institution also entering to crypto? I feel like if compared to last cycles that the sort of 4-year cycle of significant and massive upside and significant and massive downside as well are gonna slowly not disappear but reduce in their magnitude, if you understand what I'm saying. Like the upside will be more slower, and the downside will be slower. Back in the days you had those pumps, like you broke out and pumped 50% in a candle. Like that's not gonna happen anymore, so yeah, I would just focus on trading the charts up and down and stacking as much Bitcoin for the long term as possible. But I do think if we pump to, like, let's say 150k, 130 to 150k by the end of the year, then that will be a solid place to take some off, and that's my plan at least. To then buy back at the retest of, let's say, 100k, something like that. Do you use indicators? Nope. Well, from time to time I look at these, but not really. What do you think of BlackRock buying ETH so much? No real thoughts on that either. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to mean anything, Yeah, volatility is slowing down, exactly. What altcoin do you look at when pullback happen? I like hype, and that's basically the only one I really like at the moment because of the strength the past weeks. Although it's still at resistance, it swept some highs, so could as well be topping here. As you can see, swept these highs, still at this resistance, so I wouldn't FOMO in here. But if I would have to pick one that I would buy a significant dip off, then it would be hype. If I get something like this for hype, then I'd be interested. And apart from that, nothing really attracting me that much. Aave, like I said, maybe. Solid range here. Clean sweep. Say was actually one that I looked at, and if it manages to reclaim some, I like the sweep of this low here on the higher time frame, and I could see this move to new highs as well because of these untapped highs up here. You see? Demand. But what would confirm that it is what I just drew, a reclaim of this. Right? Because this could have been the sweep. The sweep that sends us lower. If it's not, and it's a higher time frame sweep right here, then the reclaim of this should send us a lot higher in my opinion. So one to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, we'll see. Right, I gotta go now. So I hope you enjoyed. We covered everything we wanted. mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. Plans are playing out really nicely. We're half out, so for me, honestly, the markets can do whatever they want. Take it easy, look for your setups, wait patiently, and manage your risk as always. As I said, I'm giving away a $1,000 funded account on PrimeXBT. All you have to do to participate is make an account using the link in the description and make a deposit. All right, if you do that, you're automatically in. Trust me, the chances that you win are quite high. So check it out. If you do that, you can also join my Discord completely for free, where I post all of my setups that I take live with stops, reasoning, all of that. And if you use that link, you can also guaranteed get a 20% deposit bonus of up to $7,000. All right, if you enjoyed, leave a like as well, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.